Hello, fans, collectors, and investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I'm Iconic Al, and if you're just finding this channel for the first time, I want to say welcome, and please subscribe. If you're an old watcher and been following along from the beginning, well, thank you for your support. Today, we're going to continue on my odyssey, counting down the top 100 players of all time. In my opinion, the top 100 greatest and most iconic, which, just to clarify, it's a qualitative and a quantitative assessment that, I've kind of come to in my own mind. Being a 30-year collector, I've tried to best gauge the significance of these players coupled with their statistics and how great they were to formulate some ranking system that I can kind of live by with my collecting. And if it helps anybody else collect or inspires someone else to rank their own top 100 or top 50 and hone their collection down to the players they really care about, then great. Any way that anyone can use this list or be inspired by it, I'm all for it. That's what collecting's all about. And this is really why I decided to get on YouTube to share this, because I want to be part of this conversation. It's really something I have a passion for that I think is really fun. So here today, we're going to do number 81 on the countdown. And it's a player that played 60, 70 years ago, and a player that I think has been underappreciated and underassessed for a long time, and probably isn't as significant in the collecting market as he should be. And I think I'll make a case, based on the modern metrics that I like to look at, to compare players across eras, metrics like WAR and OPS Plus, and looking back at on-base percentage and things like that, that this player really deserves to be looked at a higher level than probably he is now. So stay tuned. We're gonna dig into some stats and get geeky here. I'm talking about a player that I really have so much respect for. None other than Johnny Big John Mize.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
All right, number 81, Johnny Big John Mize. There's a tendency to look at a guy like this superficially at his career numbers and think, oh, okay, so he's a lower tier, mid-tier Hall of Famer. I think that's the wrong way to look at Johnny Mize. When you dig deep into what Johnny Mize was able to accomplish and the kind of hitter that he was, there is no other way to think of him than as a top-tier Hall of Famer. On the surface, you see, all right, 71.3 WAR, pretty good, pretty good WAR. 312 career hitter, yeah, it's a really solid hitter. 312, absolutely. You see 359 career home runs, okay, yeah, 359 home, yeah, that's good. What you missed though is the fact that Johnny Mize missed 3 full seasons of his prime, his age 30, his age 31, and his age 32 seasons to military service. 3 full seasons right out of the middle of his career, when he was really putting up big numbers, right up until he went to the military to serve his country, and then came back, and guess what? Put up huge numbers again. So I like to, with guys like him, like guys like Johnny Mize, I like to sort of do a little ghost addition, adding back some numbers to see really fairly what kind of player are we really talking about here. So I did a little math, and if you just add conservatively a 6 WAR, which again kind of an average of the kind of player Johnny Mize was, kind of a 6 WAR player per season, times 3, and you add that 18 WAR back to his career WAR of 71.3, you get 89.3 WAR. So he's more of a 90 WAR guy then, and that puts him up among the elite of the game. So really fairly, I think of him more as a 90 WAR guy when you add back the time he missed. Similarly with home runs, all right, say you add 31 home runs or so, because that's kind of an average. Just add 31 home runs per season back to the 3 seasons he missed. 93 home runs is probably what he would have, or more. He probably would have hit more than that, but conservatively, that puts him at 452 career home runs, which for his time puts him among the elite of the players that played during his time and retired when he retired. But if you just look at his numbers, a 959 OPS, I mean, that is Jimmy Fox-like, almost. A 158 OPS plus, and these are elite offensive numbers. He had in addition to his 312 career batting average, he also had a 397 on base percentage. This is a guy that was an elite hitter, an elite eye at the plate, did not strike out. At 34 years old, he comes back from the war in 1947. This is one of the more mind-numbing statistics you'll hear. That season, he hit 51 home runs and struck out 42 times. So that elite level of power without striking out. More home runs than strikeouts. You just don't see that anymore. I think of him more as a Jimmy Fox type of talent. Not quite where Jimmy Fox is, but he was a mini Jimmy Fox, let's say. But he was that kind of hitter. Very elite, his talent. He won a batting title in 1939, 4 home run titles during his career. Oh, and by the way, he won 5 world championships, 5 World Series titles. So he kind of did it all during his career. And somehow he's so undervalued among the vintage hobby. So much so that I recently upgraded this card. I had a copy of this card graded at PSA. I was hoping to get a 3 on it, and it came back from PSA, not this copy, but a different copy. It came back at 1.5. So I was a little disappointed. I kind of wanted a nicer grade, and then I went shopping, and I found an SGC 4, and I think I paid $70, like $70 for this card. It's a beautiful 1949 Bowman Big John Mize. It's the rarer version, which has his name inscribed there with his nickname, Big John, which there are about half of the amount of these on the population report than the no-name version. So I got the rarer version, beautifully centered, great color, in an SGC 4, old school SGC label, which I'm probably in the minority, but I actually prefer the old SGC label for the simple reason that it doesn't emphasize the grade. That's why I don't like the modern SGC label, because the grade is so big and bold, and it seems like it's more about the grade than about the card. I always want it to be more about the card. And the grade, it's kind of a small font, kind of fades in. You don't really look too much about the grade. It's not about the grade. It's about the card first, and then if you want to read on, okay, then you see it's VGX4. But it should be about the card first. And if I was going to say one thing to SGC, de-emphasize the bold and the font of the grade. That's just my take. But yeah, just a beautiful 49 Bowman. Johnny Mize. Big John Mize. One of my favorites. And then, again, autographs for Johnny Mize somehow are very reasonable. This happens to be a baseball signed by Johnny Mize in the sweet spot. Oh, and a guy, pretty decent pitcher named Baumfeller on this side, and then another Hall of Famer, Enos Slaughter, on this panel. So 3 Hall of Famers on one ball, but it really displays more as a Johnny Mize ball. So that's how I think of it. That's how I display it. And the other 2 autographs are kind of just bonus. You can't be mad that there's 2 other Hall of Famers on there. But anyway, that's my take on Johnny Mize. I think one of the more underappreciated sluggers in baseball history. Thank you for joining me, and keep watching my top 100 videos as we roll on a couple each week. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, keep collecting and stay iconic.